It's your boy Hip Hop Gamer. You already know what it is, man. The title of this video is Mass Effect 2 aims to destroy in January. Alright? Now, the reason why I made this video is because I want to point something out to you guys that a lot of people isn't really talking about or probably didn't even realize themselves. So check this out, right? First things first. January got some serious game titles coming out. Oh, you forgot? You don't remember? Okay, check this out, man. You got Darksiders, you got Dark Void, you got Bayonetta, you got Tatsunoko versus Capcom on the Wii, which is crazy. You have Army of Two, which is crazy, and you got No More Heroes 2, that's bananas, and you have MAG. Okay, now all these games is gonna bring some serious stiff competition, but even all those games being there, Mass Effect 2 is still in a league of its own. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why is because no matter how great those games are, some of them are brand new IPs, you know what I mean, and a lot of them is, multi-platform titles, so you would expect it to do better because it's on multi-platform and things like that. But Mass Effect has done something amazing, and what they've done is proven themselves not just to be a great game, but be one of the elite titles, system seller type of titles. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that Mass Effect has over the rest of the competition. You see, in terms of the way consumers view Mass Effect and what it means to them. Now, one thing I want to point out is, although all those games are coming out in January, there's something that happened, but with Mass Effect 1 that makes Mass Effect 2's release so special. Okay, first of all, Mass Effect 1 hit the 2 million mark, a little bit more than 2 million. But keep in mind on how they did it. And shout out to BioWare, they gangster. Now, Mass Effect 1, around the time when that came out, this is something that you guys don't really understand. Mass Effect 1, it went up against games like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Alright? 10 million selling game. That game is crazy. Alright? It went up against Assassin's Creed Part 1. 8 million sold. Okay? It also went up against Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii. And it also went up against Uncharted, which is now Game of the Year in terms of Part 2. To go up against those games all in the same month and still be a new IP coming out in that month and blow up the way they did, selling 2 million, and now have the big anticipated release it has now, that says a lot for this title. And that position, earning that position, that right, puts them in that much more of a bigger position over the other titles that's coming out in January that's about to be released right now. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the things that Mass Effect went up against, that I don't recall Army of Two or any of these games having that type of competitive pressure to make themselves so relevant against Mass Effect 2's release right now. You see what I'm saying? So, in terms of games, go out there. If you got money like that, go out there and get all of them. If you can't, rent them, do something. You need these games. But in terms of Mass Effect coming with authority, they don't have a title that could go head to head against them like how it was when they released Part 1. And being that Part 2 has that momentum, and they upgraded a lot of their gameplay, so it's crazy. So now we're going to move on to point number 2. Point number 2 is this: Mass Effect 2 as a game is a lot better, because a lot of people thought Shephard wasn't coming back. Shephard is back. He's badass. The gameplay controls a lot better according to the developers, and also they made a lot of graphical fixes, because in Part 1 there was a lot of texture popping. The graphics was great, but it had a lot of problems. You see what I'm saying? Now a lot of things that played Part 1 is great in Part 2, and Part 2 is basically what Part 1 should have been. So developers really got a hold of that 360 console and they whipping ass with it. Alright, so that's going to be crazy. Now I want to ask you guys something. Considering all the games that's coming out in January, and looking at Mass Effect 2 and what they've done in the industry, how do you think things is going to stack up? Or do you think that one of those games can actually outperform Mass Effect 2 this go round? So please leave your comments. Let me know what you think about that. I'll be real interested in hearing your response, because that right there is crazy. Alright, now the next thing I want to talk about is in terms of the consumers, their urgency to get their hands on a game in January is most likely Mass Effect 2. Why? Because you could take your game 1 save, your old save from part 1, and just jump right into Mass Effect part 2 with everything that you've earned in part 1, and just continue on with all these powers, all these everything. That right there makes anyone want to get up in that game first before any other game, because of the continuation and the momentum, and most of all the story. You see what I'm saying? The story is what really brings people in, and people rather complete a story than to move on to something else, you know what I'm saying, in the process. So Mass Effect 2 still has a hold on a lot of people and a lot of fans, and they made more fans because of word of mouth marketing and what you've seen so far in the boost in graphic quality. This game is going to be a monster on the 360 exclusively. It's crazy. That's you know, that example right there. Now another thing in terms of Mass Effect 2, this is another point, according to GameStop, Mass Effect 2 is the biggest selling game for January, and they got pre-orders to back it up. I wish I could give you guys the numbers, but I don't have the confirmed numbers. All I can tell you is that Mass Effect 2 is the hottest selling title in January already, and the pre-orders, you know, show that, and everything from numerous GameStops that not only I spoke with, but emails that, you know, we receive, and a couple of inside sources that I do have. Alright, so that right there is crazy. So that already proves that Mass Effect 2 is already in the forefront. So when upon release, it's going to be, you know, a big event. Now, the next thing I want to point out that a lot of people may not agree with me with, but Mass Effect 2 is a system seller. In my opinion, I believe it's a system seller. And the reason why is because Mass Effect 2 is, for Mass Effect to be able to survive against that onslaught of games when it first came out. When Mass Effect 2 come out, they don't have that competitive pressure that they had the first go round. Now they're in a league of their own in terms of January, and the sales of the game represent that. And since the sales of the game represent that, plus they got a little collector's edition for the PC, I believe, when it comes to the 360, people is going to jump on that one more. You see what I mean? In terms of market share. So they're going to really want that. Now, it would have been cool if they would have did a bundle, but even though without a bundle, people is going to buy 360s for Mass Effect 2. You want to know why they're going to buy 360s for Mass Effect 2? Because everyone that talked about Mass Effect 1 and how good it was and how great it was, they're going to want to experience that, so they can experience and appreciate what part 2 is going to be. That's what makes things grow. You see what I'm saying? That is going to make people go out there and buy 360 so they can share that same experience. You see what I mean? Similar to what Uncharted did for Sony. A lot of people went out and bought PS3 just for Uncharted 2 and also Uncharted 1 so they could get up to speed with the story. So that right there is major. That right there is very important, and that works. So I just want to put it out there that Mass Effect 2 is going to own in January, and the signs already prove just that. But if you guys think otherwise, leave a comment, let me know what you think, because truthfully, I don't see nothing stopping Mass Effect 2. Now, I will put this out as another point. Do I feel Mass Effect 2, to me, I don't think it's going to be the best game that comes out in January. And I know I didn't get my hands on Darksiders yet and all this other stuff, but looking at Bayonetta, Darksiders, Dark Void, like all these other games, yeah, they got a lot more going than Mass Effect 2 do. You see what I'm saying? But in terms of their image, their position in the industry, and what they've been able to achieve since part 1, Mass Effect 2 has the hype, the marketing, the price point because of the 360 being $199. Yes, Mass Effect 2 is going to own in January, and regardless of how great those other games are, I don't think there's anything they can do about it. So thanks for kicking it with your boy Hip Hop Gamer. That was that Vehicle right there. And you know, in terms of the points that I made, in terms of Mass Effect going up against Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, being able to do what they've done and come out with Mass Effect 2 and already be ahead of the pack, that's crazy impressive. Especially being 360 exclusive, that's impressive because they are utilizing that system so well. That's one, right? Two, GameStop already has Mass Effect 2 in the forefront, and people are buying 360s just to get Mass Effect 2 and experience Mass Effect 1, which is generating sales as well. Used, but still generating sales. Three, the gameplay enhancements of the overall game is going to blow people's minds, and they really going to want to experience that. And four, the urgency to get their hands to finish that story, just like people wanted to finish the fight with Halo 3. So, let me know what you think. Leave your comments. One love and God bless your boy Hip Hop Gamer, and I'm out. See you later. Peace.